Hey guys, OG Albino here, bringing you guys my UPO Wi-Fi Season 2 Week 3 match against just Kurt and his Portage Herdiers. Kurt actually did all of the graphics for the UPO this season, being our thumbnails and our draft slides, so huge shout outs to him. Definitely go check him out in the description below. He'll be down there this week, especially because we're playing him, but he's been in the description the other weeks as well. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into matchup, just so we can get this video, on the road and all that stuff. Our team, if you did forget, consists of the Mega Lucario, Garchomp, Rotom Wash, Rabombi, Roserade, Spiritomb, Steelix, Victini, Reuniclus, Tyrantrum, Braviary, and Kangaskhan. While our opponent's team consists of the Xerneas, Thunderous Eye, Ferrothorn, Greninja, Snorlax, Seismitoad, Musharna, Mega Charizard X, Mandibuzz, Gligar, Terrakion, Marini. I apologize for just showing you the doc and not reading it off and having the team on the screen. I usually do it from my phone, but I don't have my phone in my room and I don't want to go get it, so I'm being lazy. I apologize though. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into the team we're bringing. We are bringing a Swords Dance, just dual stabs, Bullet Punch, Mega Lucario. If we can chip some things down, this is a phenomenal win con. We just need to chip things like the Thunderous, the Gligar, and the Mandibuzz just a little bit, and this can be, phenomenal in the late game, and we have enough bulk to, Swords Dance on a good amount of things on his team, so that's super, super nice. And the Bullet Punch priority is also just really good versus team for things like Terrakion and Xerneas if they get out of hand. Next up, we have an Assault Vest Victini. It is designed for the Xerneas. We're actually never 3-hit KO'd by it if rocks aren't up, which is a problem though because we are packing removal on this team. However, I do kind of want to force my opponent to defog for me if he does end up getting rocks up, just because he has a Mega Charizard X and we are bringing spikes and rocks. If he doesn't want to defog just because of my Victini and I'm able to hazard stack all over him, that's absolutely phenomenal, and I will take that 100% of the time, so that's obviously super, super nice for us. And then next up, we have an offensive Trick Room Reuniclus with some messed up EVs. So we are, Trick Room 3 attacks, Psyshock, Thunder, Focus Blast. However, originally I had a defensive call mindset, and I changed it to OTR at the last minute. Oh, not the last minute, like the day before. But, and I went into the battle and I started, playing as, spoilers and stuff like that, and I realized I wasn't doing as much damage as I wanted. It's because I forgot to change the EVs. I was supposed to be, quiet with a good amount of special attack, but I forgot to change it from the defensive set that we had before, so we're just Life Orb with max defense, which is fine because we can soak up hits from the Terrakion a little bit better, but definitely not going to be hitting as hard as we want, but oh well. Then next up we have our Rocker and Rocks 2 attacks, Swords Dance, Garchomp right here. Rocking out with the Habanberry. This is kind of a check to the Mega Charizard X. It can never knock us out at +1 as long as we're not super, super weakened. And I don't think it'll ever get more than +1 on my team. I just, refuse to allow that to happen. And, we can revenge it potentially with an Earthquake or a Stone Edge if he's, not Mega. I forget the first turn Mega rule, which is bad because I'm an admin. But regardless, we'll hit it super effectively on either side. And yeah, it's going to be our Rocker this week as well. SC actually punches huge holes through his team, which is super nice, and we have a good amount of bulk to live hits from the Charizard, from the Terrakion, stuff like that. And then next up we have a Rotom Wash, which is going to be our main switch into the Zardex. We have Foul Play on this guy just in case he starts getting super boosted, and he thinks he can boost all over us because we're relying on Hydro Pump. Foul Play will do a good chunk to him. It'll do more to him the more he decides to boost on us, which is nice. Pain Slit to keep ourselves healthy, and then Volt Switch for momentum, Hydro Pump just to have Hydro Pump. And then lastly we have a Pyapa Berry. Roserade, this is going to be our main Gren check. It's also going to be a good spiker this week. Like I said, I kind of want to hazard stack my opponent and try and chip things down into range of Lucario with rocks plus spikes. We're rocking out with Sludge Bomb, HP Fire, Toxic Spikes. Spikes and Toxic, not Toxic Spikes. I should have said that differently. Toxic is for the Mandibuzz. I really, really want the Mandibuzz to Toxic. It's actually a mon that I really do struggle with breaking-wise immensely, so if I can get a Toxic off on that thing, it makes it a lot easier for my team to deal with potentially. So if I can lure that thing in to potentially defog my rocks and spikes away, that's absolutely amazing. I will stay in and click Toxic on that thing. So yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right in. The team my opponent selected to bring looks like Kurt went with the Greninja, Terrakion, Mandibuzz, Charizard X, a Xerneas, and Thunderous Eye. So right off the bat, I am going to lead off with my Roserade. I figure it'll let me get up spikes turn 1, potentially, depending on what he wants to lead off with. And if he wants to lead off with Gren, that's perfect because this is, my check 2 Gren. and I can kind of force the Mandibuzz and hopefully get a Toxic off on that thing, which makes my endgame a lot easier. So I'm going to lead off with the Roserade, as my opponent does lead off with the Greninja. So like I said, best case scenario right here, even if he's like Extra Sensory or Z Extra Sensory or something like that, we will 100% live it. And, you know, that's obviously great. He goes for the U-turn, tipping off. Maybe he might be Scarf, you know, being that he wasn't scared of, you know, the Scarf potential on my own. As he does go into the Mandibuzz right here, I do elect to get up a layer of Spikes right here. I didn't think he'd want to stay in, even though that U-turn does a big chunk, will still be a pretty good check to it later, as I do just go for the Toxic this next turn. If he wants to go for the Brave Bird, knock me out, that's fine. He's going to take Brave Bird, Recoil, plus Toxic, and then one of my Spikes is still up, and I can go in and force him out potentially. As he does go for the knockoff, we actually do live that pretty easily right here, as he does start to take Toxic Chip. And I believe this time I am just going to kind of, I'm going to spam Sludge Bomb just to get a little bit of damage off on the thing. If he wants to defog, that's fine. I can just, you know, get my Spike right back up. As he does go for another knockoff, actually doesn't knock us out because we do have our leftovers still. And we're slowly chipping this thing down to where it's kind of going to be a non-factor, which is absolutely phenomenal. As I am going to go for another Spike right here. If he wants to try and knock me out again, that's fine. If he wants to defog, I'll make sure I at least get one Spike out of this situation. As he does go for the Roost right here, this is fine. Again, I can just kind of spam Sludge Bomb. I'm okay with my Roserade going down at this point. I am super weakened. It was kind of my weakest link. I think I'll be fine handling the Greninja. Otherwise, it's not the absolute end of the world to me if my check goes down to it. It is a little bit tough because Dual Stabs is good versus me, but I think we'll be alright. So I'm going to hit Sludge Bomb one more time. See if he wants to go for the defog right here. He does not. He goes for a knockoff. He is able to knock out a Roserade, but it did exactly what it was supposed to. It weakened that Mandibuzz down to a point where it's not really a huge issue for my team anymore. And it got up 2 Spikes. So if he doesn't have defog on anything else, those 2 Spikes are going up to stay. He could potentially, like I said, he could have it on the Thundurus or the Zard. I don't think those are his best defoggers in this game. As I am going to go out into my Lucario, I can get my Mega off, and I can just throw off free close combat. It doesn't really, you know, nothing on his team really wants to take it. As he does go into the Thundurus, and despite this being a resist, it should do a good amount to this thing, like a very sizable chunk to this thing. As I do go for the close combat, and I actually don't pick up a 2-hit KO on it. This tells me he has a lot of defense investment on his Thundurus, which makes me think he probably has the defog, which really does suck. For, you know, my 2 Spikes that are up right now at this point, but it shows me he's probably not very offensive, as I am going to go into my Victini because I am, you know, very Spadef Assault Vest set. As he goes for the Thunderbolt, and he doesn't do very much at all, which is fine because he actually didn't elect to get up his rocks. Defog away the Spikes, as he is going to go out into the Terrakion, take two Spikes really quick, and I'm going to throw off a big V-Create. This definitely won't kill it, but it's going to do a sizable chunk to this thing, which is phenomenal. If he switches out and switches back in, he won't be able to take a V-Create, so he actually has no V-Create switch-ins at this point, which is phenomenal. But I am going to switch out because I obviously don't take like a Stone Edge or anything like that very well. I'm going to go into my Reuniclus, and being that I messed up on my EVs, I actually can take this thing on well, but he does go for Stone Edge, he does miss, which is super unfortunate for my opponent, but it's great for me. He's going to go out into the Mandibuzz, and I go for a Trick Room this turn. So, provided that I hit my next attack, I should be able to knock out this Mandibuzz and have it, you know, really be a non-factor versus me. If I do miss this Thunder, I think I go for Thunder over Focus Blast. I mean, there's no really reason not to. He doesn't have a ground type. I think I go for Thunder right here, and if I hit it, which I do, we won't have to worry about this Mandibuzz anymore, which, like I said, was a huge issue for me to break. So Roserade plus Reuniclus really, you know, putting the team on his back, really helping us out, breaking that monster for us, which is, again, phenomenal. He is going to go out into the Mega Charizard X, which is very scary. He's going to throw off his Mega, as I'm going to go for the Psyshock, and this is where I realized, because I didn't see damage from the Terrakion earlier, this is where I realized that I am a very defensive Reuniclus right here, and I'm not very offensive at all. Despite the Life Orb, we're actually not 2-hit KOing that thing, and I should have 2-hit KO'd it. If I was Life Orb, unless he was like super bulky, and regardless, that shows me that I do next to nothing to that thing. He is going to go for the Roost though, so even if I was, you know, more offensive, he would have been able to kind of stall at my Trick Room terms. So I'm going to go into my Rotom right here as he goes for the Dragon Dance, and this is where the game gets very scary. This is where things get, you know, super sketch, but he is going to go for the Dragon Dance. I'm going to go for a Foul Play. I still have Trick Room right here. And I am going to be able to get up a big chunk on this thing, but not all too much in all honesty. actually to the point where he can kind of roost off my damage, and being that I'm leftovers, he can kind of just beat me 1v1 at this point, which is again terrifying. Twisted Dimensions return to normal. He's going to go for another Dragon Claw, though. He's going to knock me out. I'm glad that he didn't elect to start setting up all over my Rotom and, you know, or at least roost back up potentially, and try and set up to +2, because if he got up to +2, I lost the game, and that would have been terrifying. But my Rotom Watch is going to go down. I'm going to go into my Garchomp. He doesn't know if I'm Scarf, and he doesn't know if I'm Haban. I'm assuming he probably thinks I'm Scarf. I go for the Earthquake as he goes into the Thunders right here, and I can kind of... I'm assuming he probably thought I was Scarf because he's going to go for the U-turn right here, and I knew I could live any one hit from said, you know, Thunders, even if he's from Power Ice, especially because I saw that he wasn't very offensive. And I'm going to go for my Rocks right here. As he does go into the Xerneas, I'm going to get my Rocks up, so now I have, you know, 2 layers of Spikes and Rocks up, which is phenomenal for chipping that Zard that wants to come back in. Oh no, I go for the Stone Edge. I'm an idiot. I go for Rocks later, though. Spoilers. Oh my god. This battle was a while ago, if you haven't been able to tell. But he goes into the Xerneas. I missed the Stone Edge, which sucks, because having chip on that and being able to scout its damage would have been, you know, obviously really nice, but not the end of the world, as I still do have a pretty healthy Victini. And he's going to go for the Moonblast. Not do very much. Even with a crit right there, it's not going to do a huge amount. This tells you that he's not like Specs or Modest or anything like that. He probably doesn't have, you know, the most special attack investment in the world, as he is going to switch out right here. As I just throw off a free V-Create, and that is going to bring in the Terrakion, and that's definitely going to drop to a V-Create at this point. It's a resist, but it's not a resist to where it's going to live at 30%, you know. So down that goes, which is great because I didn't have switch into that thing. Because I didn't have recover on my Reuniclus. So that's great. It does go down right here, which is again phenomenal. He is going to go out into his Zard, and this is a really tough situation for me. I don't want to let this thing sit up for free, and I don't want to hard switch out. So he is going to go for a Roost right here. I believe I go for a U-turn, and I go right out into my Garchomp right here. As I didn't want to let him set up for free, but I also didn't want to go hard Garchomp in case he went for a Dragon Claw, expecting me to, you know, go hard Garchomp, and then I would bust my Haban, and then he would know, you know, my set, obviously, and know that once he got to +1, at that point, the game was probably over. So I am going to go into the Garchomp, get a free switch, as he is going to switch out himself, not wanting to take it on, as I believe this is the turn where I go for Rocks. I hope I don't look like an idiot and not go for him this time. There we go. Now I go for Rocks, and he probably kind of gets tipped off right here that I'm not Scarf. Oh, no, I went for the Stone Edge after the Earthquake last time. So he knows I'm not Scarf, but he does see me, you know, get up my Rocks. So now we have 2 layers of Hazards, being our Rocks and our Spikes, and we have 2 layers of Spikes up, which is, you know, phenomenal. We're chipping things down slowly as things come in, to where our Lucario can potentially win in the end game. He's going to go for another Moonblast, which is fine. I'm going to live that with my Victini. I can actually live another one after this, and I obviously outspeed this Xerneas, which is, you know, obviously great. He doesn't want to take a V-Create probably, so I'm just going to click that and pretty much pick up a KO at this point, as he is going to go into the Thunderous. Again, phenomenal. If he doesn't have Defog on the Zard, which I 100% doubt, that means our hazards are 100% up to stay, and now he does not have a resist to my Lucario dual stabs at this point, so it can definitely win in the end game here. If that is Scarf Grand, it's a little bit more iffy, but you know, I think we can definitely pull it out with Lucario here in the end if we do play our cards correctly, as he is going to go back into the Zard, take Rocks and then 2 layers of Spikes, which is again phenomenal. This thing isn't going to get you know, a huge amount of boosts on us at this point. We are just going to go for a U-turn again. I don't want to, you know, go hard Garchomp, but I also don't want to potentially you know, let this thing set up to +1,000,000 on my Victini, because Zen Headbutt isn't doing that much based on, you know, how much the Foul Play was doing earlier. He does go for the Dragon Dance. I go into my Garchomp. I can definitely live a Dragon Claw at this point, so you're going to see our Habanberry pop, which is good that we are able to keep our Garchomp healthy. We are going to live this just barely, get off a little bit of Rough Skin, which doesn't matter obviously, and then we're going to get off an Earthquake, and we're going to be able to take out this Zard, which is phenomenal. Like I said, this was probably the biggest threat to our team at this point. This thing is absolutely terrifying. I hate prepping for this mon, because it's one of those mons that if it gets too boosted on you, you're just done. There's not much counterplay to it, so you do have to play really carefully around it. He's going to go into his Greninja. I believe I just elect to sack off my Garchomp at this point, kind of scouting to see what he wants to potentially go for. He does go for a Scald right here. Again, that's completely fine. He knocks out my Garchomp, but I should rotation march, I should be able to win the game with my Lucario right here. So I am going to go into that, and I'm just going to click Close Combat because his Xerneas obviously can't switch into me. He's going to go for Scald, and he's going to actually snag the burn, which shouldn't matter because, you know, Lucario is ridiculously strong and this is a Greninja. So I should always kill him, but he's actually Chople Berry. So that plus burn makes it to where I can't knock out this Greninja, and he lives on just a sliver of health, which is, you know, unfortunate, and really cool, a really cool dynamic. I thought seeing a Greninja live a close combat from Lucario was something I never thought I'd see. But I'm going to go for the Bullet Punch, and it's actually going to be enough to just barely take out this Greninja, which is phenomenal. Now, provided that I get off a good amount of chip on the, provided I hit a Meteor Mash on this Xerneas, things should be fine. We probably won't knock it out if he has like any bulk at all, but we're going to do enough to put him in range of our Victini in the back, who will outspeed it. As long as we like just don't let this thing get up like a sub for some reason, we should be completely fine. So we are going to go for the Meteor Mash. We are going to connect. You're going to see it just doesn't knock out the Xerneas. He was probably running a fair amount of bulk. We get the attack raise, which is all for naught though, because he is just going to go for a Moonblast. He is going to knock out our Mega Lucario, which is fine. Again, Lucario got the kill that it needed to. It probably would have cleaned up the game provided we didn't get the burn, but that's why we run Scald and for that burn chance and stuff like that. So that was really cool prep on Kurt's end, being able to get the burn plus Chople to live that hit. But I am going to go into Victini. Victini is going to finish it off, putting in a ton of work, picking up the 3 kills versus this team when it wasn't even a fully offensive set. It was more support for the Xerneas, but just V-Create being such an inherently strong move overall. My opponent just really didn't have a switch into it in general regardless. So we are able to pick up this W 2-0 against Kurt and his terrifying team. GG's to him. It was definitely super close. The Zern was terrifying. The Zard was absolutely terrifying. I hate playing around that mon, but I'm glad that we were able to this time. But yeah, again, GG's to my opponent. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to like the video. If you're new, definitely subscribe so you can get our league vids as they go up every week. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys later.